July 14th, 2007, Bastille Day. It is the most important day in France. In Paris, on the Champs-Élysées, the president is watching the military parade. Fighter jets fly over the city, leaving trails of blue, white, and red smoke. Millions of people are celebrating liberty. But 500 miles away, in the quiet town of Grasse, a very different kind of air show is about to begin. Inside the high-security prison, the guards are relaxed. It's a holiday after all. The air is still. Suddenly, a low rumble breaks the silence. It's not a truck. It's not thunder. The sound grows louder, vibrating through the concrete walls. Within seconds, a shadow covers the prison courtyard. A hijacked squirrel helicopter descends from the clouds, hovering just meters above the restricted zone. Dust kicks up, blinding the cameras. 3 men, masked and armed with sewing machines and assault rifles, jump out onto the roof. They aren't breaking in. They are extracting someone out. This wasn't a random attempt. The prisoner waiting for them had checked his watch. He knew they were coming. Because for Pascal Payet, walls are just a suggestion. And this was his 3rd time flying away. To understand how a man becomes a ghost, we have to go back to the beginning. Pascal Payet was born in 1963 in Montpellier in the south of France. He didn't grow up wanting to be a pilot. He grew up on the rougher side of the tracks. The France of the 80s and 90s was changing, and Payet found his place in the criminal underworld early on. He wasn't your average street thug. Police reports from his early years describe a man who was calm, calculated, and dangerously charismatic. He didn't just want money. He wanted the thrill of the perfect plan. But in the world of high-stakes crime, one mistake can cost you everything. And Payet's mistake happened in 1997. It was supposed to be a standard job, a hit on an armored truck transporting cash for the Banque de France. Payet and his crew were heavily armed. They had the element of surprise, but chaos is unpredictable. During the robbery, bullets started flying. A security guard was hit. He died from his injuries. The robbery failed. The police closed in. When Pascal Payet was finally arrested in January 1999, the court showed no mercy. The death of the guard turned him from a robber into a killer. The judge's gavel came down hard. 30 years. 30 years in a maximum security prison. For most men, that's a life sentence. It's the end of the story. You go in, you grow old, you die. But as Payet sat in his cell in Luynes prison, he wasn't looking at the bars. He was looking through them, at the sky. October 12, 2001. Payet had been waiting quietly. He built a reputation as a stable prisoner, but on the outside, his associates were busy. At a nearby airfield, a flight instructor was preparing for a lesson. Suddenly, armed men approached him. This wasn't a lesson anymore. They forced him to fly towards the prison in Luynes. Imagine the scene, a helicopter flying low over the fences. The guards in the towers were stunned. They hesitated. Do you shoot? If you shoot the pilot, the helicopter crashes into a prison full of inmates. Taking advantage of that hesitation, the helicopter landed in the exercise yard. It took seconds. Pascal Payet and his cellmates sprinted to the chopper, climbed in, and lifted off. By the time the alarm sounded, they were already miles away. Now, this is where the story gets insane. Payet was free. He was one of Europe's most wanted men. He had plastic surgery to change his face. He moved through shadows. Any logical criminal would take the money and run to South America. But Pascal Payet had a code. He had left friends behind. April 14th, 2003, 2 years after his escape. The guards at Luynes prison heard a familiar sound. Another helicopter. It couldn't be. It was impossible. But it was him. Pascal Payet didn't just escape. He came back. He hijacked another helicopter, flew it himself back to the exact same prison he had escaped from, to break out 3 of his friends. It was a slap in the face to the French government. It was total humiliation. The police were furious. They launched a massive manhunt. 3 weeks later, they found them. This time, there was no helicopter, just handcuffs. Payet was thrown into the deepest, darkest hole the French prison system had. They labeled him a DPS, a particularly monitored detainee. He was placed in total isolation. But that wasn't enough. The authorities realized that if Payet stayed in one prison for too long, he would learn the layout. He would find a weakness. So, they started a program specifically for him. Every 3 months, armed convoys would move him to a different prison. He was never in the same cell long enough to unpack his bags. Solitary confinement, no contact with other inmates, 24-hour surveillance. By 2007, he was in Grasse prison. He was one of the most guarded men in Europe. They thought they had broken him. They thought it was over. And that brings us back to July 14th, 2007. Payet had observed something the guards missed: the rotation of the shifts, the angle of the roof cameras. His friends on the outside hijacked a helicopter from Cannes Airport. They flew over the Mediterranean Sea to avoid radar, then popped up over the prison. 3 masked men jumped out. They used heavy-duty angle grinders to cut through the steel door leading to the isolation block. Payet was waiting. He walked out of his cell, through the cut door, and stepped onto the helicopter. The whole operation took less than 5 minutes. For the 3rd time, the king of escape was airborne. Pascal Payet was eventually caught in Spain. He is currently serving his time in a location that is kept secret, under security measures that are classified. He holds a world record that no one wants to beat: the highest number of helicopter escapes from maximum security prisons. Some call him a criminal, others call him a mastermind. But one thing is certain: whenever a helicopter flies too low over a French prison, every guard looks up and remembers the name: Pascal Payet.